G'day, I'm Adelaide from the Delta Bowers channel, and today I'm going to be talking about what I want to read in the month of May. So the first book I'm going to be reading is The Timeline of Australian Food by Jan O'Connell. I started this book in April and I'm enjoying it so far. It is what it says on the cover, a timeline of Australian food starting during the 1800s and going all the way up until Masterchef. And it's done in just little bite-sized pieces of history, and it's interesting so far. So I'm looking forward to continuing with this one. The next book I'm going to be reading is Grimm Tales by Philip Pullman. Philip Pullman is the author of his Dark Materials, and this is a book where he's retelling his favourite 50 Grimm fairy stories. I will be starting this tonight, so officially I'm starting it in April, but there's only 2 days left of April, so I'm definitely not going to finish it by the end of the month. Therefore, I'm going to be continuing with this book in May, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I haven't read his Dark Materials, but I've heard good things about it, so I'm looking forward to reading this book. The next book I'm going to be reading is A Haunting Place by Glen. And it's basically just a book about all the most haunted places in the world. And I'm very much interested in reading about hauntings and paranormal phenomena and other Forteana. So this should be an interesting read for the month of May. The next book I'm planning on reading in the month of May is Whisper Down the Lane by Mcleod Chapman. And I'm reading that one. I don't have a copy right now because I'm waiting on it in the library. But I'm reading that one because it is the May read for the Literally Dead book club, which is hosted by Books and Lala. And I have never been part of a book club before, so I'm not quite certain what to expect. But I figured that since I enjoy thrillers and mysteries, that this would be the perfect one to start with. So I'll be reading that next month as well. The next book that I'm planning to read for the month of May is P.S. I Like You by Kasie West. This isn't the sort of book I would normally choose to read. I was a member of a book subscription box called I'll Create several years ago, and this is one of the books that they sent me. And basically the story is that the female character, hang on, let me look up her name, Lily, she scribbles some of her favourite song lyrics onto her desk during chemistry class when she's a bit bored, and when she comes back the next day she finds that someone has continued the lyrics on the desk. She adds another message and they begin to write back and forth, and she begins to fall for the person that she's writing with, and hijinks ensue, I assume. As I said, I'm not usually someone who reads this kind of book, but I'm willing to give it a go, and so that's going to be read in May as well. Next on my list is a book of poetry called 12 Moons by Mary Oliver. Mary has several other volumes published previously to this. I haven't read any of them. I've never read any of her poetry. I enjoy reading poetry. I very rarely actually understand what I'm reading, but I do enjoy reading it. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this one in May. And lastly, the last book I'm planning to read for May is Nick Cardy, The Artist at War. And Nick Cardy is apparently a renowned commercial illustrator, designer, and comic book artist. He's in his 90s. He worked at DC Comics. Before that, he fought in World War II, and he brought his sketchbook along and documented what he was seeing. And that is what's going to be in this book. It looks like to have some lovely illustrations in here. So I'm very much a sucker for illustrated books, and given that these are genuine illustrations made during the war, I am very much anticipating enjoying this book. Probably it will be the one I enjoy the most out of the month. if I am guessing correctly. So that's the list of books that I'm planning to read for May. I'm still a little bit unsure about how to sign off on these videos, but if you want to see more of my content, I will have a video on one side or the other. I'm not sure which. Depends on the framing. And if you enjoyed this video, then I would really appreciate it if you could click the like button. And looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye.